A very good evening. Welcome to Prime TV News on Friday, the 3rd of January, with me, Iftia Abdul Qadir. Your headlines first. Fourth sessions of the 8th Parliament was inaugurated this morning by the President in a simple yet dignified manner. President says national security occupies the foremost place of the new government. Committee has been appointed to probe the helicopter crash killing 4 airmen. Counter-terrorism bill is repealed. Provisions of the Motor Traffic Act regarding the sounding of loud horns on passenger buses will be strictly enforced. And on news overseas, Pentagon confirms that US has killed Iran Quds Force leader. In your lead story this evening, the fourth sessions of the 8th Parliament was inaugurated this morning by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa in a simple yet dignified manner. The President said that the independence of the country would not be compromised and the Constitution should be changed for the security of the country. The President further stated that Parliament should be made an exemplary venue for the realization of the issues of the masses and the discussion of national policy. President had given instructions not to carry out the traditional convoys and 21-gun salutes in order to make the ceremony simpler. Thus, the inauguration of the fourth sessions of the 8th Parliament became one of the most important sessions in the history. A group of more than 600 invitees joined in the event. It was the Speaker, Karu Jayasuriya, who first arrived for the fourth sessions of the 8th Parliament. Thereafter, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa arrived at the parliamentary complex. They were followed by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the First Lady. Speaker Karu Jayasuriya, Parliamentary Secretary General Dhammika Dasanayaka and Sergeant-at-Arms Narendra Fernando greeted the President. Thereafter, Jayamangala Gatha was sung showering blessings. It was rendered by students of Kotte Ananda Balika Vidyalaya. After the Sergeant-at-Arms announced the President's arrival in Parliament, the Chief Sergeant-at-Arms brought the mace to the parliamentary complex. It was thereafter President Gotabaya Rajapaksa arrived in the chamber. A special allocation of seats was made within the Parliament. Although previously the Speaker was given a prominent seat, this time the President took a special seat above the Speaker. The President presented his manifesto, the vision of prosperity in Parliament, instead of the throne speech.
මා ක්‍රියාකාරී දේශපාලනයේ දුනේ නැති වුණත් ජනතා සේවය කුමක්ද යන්න මා කුඩා කාලේ සිටම අත්දැක තිබෙනවා.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that changes to the existing constitution are essential to safeguard the security, sovereignty, stability and integrity of the country. He pointed out that the success of democracy rests upon its constitution. Mr. Rajapaksa called for reforms to the electoral system while preserving the positive characteristics of the proportional representation system. He noted that such reforms are necessary judiciary to ensure the stability of the parliament and to ensure the direct representation of the people. The president clarified that even though elections can be won through numbers, an unstable parliament that cannot take clear decisions and remains constantly under the influence of extremism is not one that suits the country. He further said the problem could be solved through constitutional reforms that will establish a strong executive, legislature, and an independent judiciary that can ensure the sovereignty of the people. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa mentioned that national security occupies the foremost place in the new government. He further mentioned that the government has already taken steps to strengthen the national security apparatus. Talented officers have been given appropriate responsibilities again. Steps have been taken to ensure proper coordination between the armed forces and the police, who are collectively responsible for maintaining national security. He pledged that the government would take all necessary steps to make Sri Lanka a safe country, free of terrorism, extremism, underworld activities, theft and robbery, extortionists, the drug menace, disruptors of public order, and the abuse of women and children. Outlining the government's vision to develop the country, Mr. Rajapaksa said it should ensure that the benefits of development reach every group of people. Eliminating poverty is a priority for the government, he remarked. He also noted that the government has made plans to find employment for 100,000 young men and women from low-income families within the next month. President Rajapaksa emphasized that his government is prepared to present practical solutions to resolve unemployment, with the public sector and the private sector working together. Parliament met again at 1 p.m. today. Speaker Karu Jayasuriya informed the House on the new positions in Parliament. Sajith Premadasa was announced as the opposition leader, while the chief government whip was Johnston Fernando. The leader of the House was Dinesh Gunawardena and the chief opposition whip was Gayantha Karunatilaka. Varuna Priyantha Liyanage was sworn in as a new member of parliament of the Ratnapura district before the speaker today. He fills the vacancy created following the death of MP Ranjit Soiza. Meanwhile, government as well as opposition members expressed views with respect to the Central Bank Forensic Audit Report in Parliament today. Parliament was adjourned until Tuesday. On to a headline-making story. A special committee has been appointed under the instructions of the Air Force commander to probe the helicopter crash in Haputale. 4 people, including the pilot, were killed when the Air Force plane crashed. The Air Force's Y-12 aircraft was launched from the Veeravila Air Force Base at 9 o'clock this morning for observation. The pilot of the craft, the assistant pilot and 2 other members of the Air Force Intelligence Unit had been traveling at the time of the incident. The bodies of the 4 dead persons have been kept at the Haputale hospital. 2 women who witnessed the incident have been admitted to the hospital following the trauma. This is how a CCTV camera recorded the crash. The government has decided to withdraw the counter-terrorism bill, which is under review by the Parliament's Sectoral Oversight Committee. This was following a proposal put forward by Foreign Relations Minister Dinesh Gunawardena at this week's cabinet meeting. The previous government had put forward the counter-terrorism bill in a bid to replace the existing Prevention of Terrorism Temporary Provisions Act. However, the present government has decided to withdraw the bill after taking into consideration viewpoints expressed regarding certain clauses in the bill. Minister Mahinda Amaravira has instructed officials to strictly enforce the provisions of the Motor Traffic Act and the National Environmental Act regarding the sounding of loud horns on passenger buses. He gave the instructions during a discussion with officials of the National Transport Commission. The minister stressed the need to look into the mandatory implementation and regulation of passenger buses in accordance with the provisions of the Motor Traffic Act and the National Environmental Act No. 7 of 1980. The Ministry of Transport has received a large number of complaints that the buses are not being used without proper standards. It has been witnessed that many drivers in violation of the rules were releasing the noise of the horns, which is extremely annoying to the passengers. Minister Mahinda Amaravira also directed the National Transport Commission to propose a suitable program to curb this situation. The minister further stated that the program should be implemented with an emphasis on making an attitude change. Archbishop of Colombo, Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, has said that he is opposed to constructing the coal power plants. The Archbishop made this reference following a program held at the Apeksha Hospital in Maharagama. He said that the lives of the people in the area would be severely affected through the construction of these power plants. His Eminence, Archbishop of Colombo, Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, reiterated that they object the establishment of coal power plants. The Cardinal pointed out that the power plants fired by coal are being rejected globally. He mentioned that these are not only detrimental to the ecosystem, but also to the health of the people in the surroundings. He noted that no further discussions are required on the matter as the harm has already been proven with substantial evidence. Pointing out that the Norachole coal power plant repeatedly broke down, the Cardinal urged to make inquiries from the farming and fishing communities of the truth after effects of such events. You're watching Prime TV News, and still on the local scene, Parliamentarian Thenuka Vidanagamage has pointed out that the present government does not take into consideration party and colour differences in the granting of the Samurdhi. He stressed that eligible persons should be given the Samurdhi. Parliamentarian Thenuka Vidanagamage said that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was elected by the people with the hopes of securing the future of the nation. The MP highlighted that the president's inaugural month had been truly exceptional. He opined that the Samurdhi subsidy was not justly distributed by the previous government. Thenuka Vidanagamage added that the Samurdhi should only be received by the deserving, regardless of their political affiliations. The parliamentarian was expressing these views at a function held at the Mahyangana Divisional Secretariat. 25 mango plants each were distributed among 131 Samurdhi recipients in the Mahyangana division. These mango plants were distributed among the Samurdhi beneficiaries with the aim of uplifting their lives parallel to the countrywide tree planting program. Still on local news, Minister S.M. Chandrasena has said that those who do not have land deeds will be given deeds within 6 months. He expressed this view joining in a program held in the Kabitigoleva area in Anuradhapura. Minister S.M. Chandrasena pointed out that the President has been very practical in allocating the subjects of the ministries. The minister stated that in the previous system, operations of forest conservation, wildlife conservation and surveying were carried out separately. As a result, the whole structure was ineffective and time-consuming. The minister pointed out as all those operations have now been conjoined, they will be able to issue the due land deeds within 6 months. He also expressed views regarding the arrest of former Minister Rajitha Senaratne in connection with the White Van news briefing. The minister pointed out that instead of secondary suspects of the controversial White Van media briefing are still in remand custody, the main perpetrator had been granted bail. The minister noted that another mechanism will soon be introduced to effectively tackle bribery and corruption in addition to the existing commission. The dumping of garbage at the Haputale Thangala Forest Reserve, which has attracted both local and foreign tourists, is causing serious environmental damage. Residents of the area point out that the garbage is dumped at the Thangala Reserve by people who visit it. This forest reserve is rich in small streams with a variety of flora and fauna. Some people who visit the location to enjoy the beauty of the place throw away bottles, cups and polythene in such a way as to damage the ecosystem. Residents of the area say that the Thangala Reserve should be safeguarded through a proper disposal system. Business News is up next. Sri Lanka's seafood exporters are targeting $200 million in sales from newly farmed king prawns within 3 years. Sri Lanka's estimated shrimp exports for 2019 were $20 million, a small fraction of the $250 million in total seafood exports. Most of Sri Lanka's seafood export revenue is derived from tuna exports to the European Union. The Vannamei high-yield prawn variety, also known as Pacific white or white-leg shrimp, introduced to Sri Lanka in 2018, whereas other countries had adopted the variety in the 1990s. Vannamei is in higher demand globally. In the European Union, Vannamei imports are around 85%, with the rest black tiger. Well, that's the lot from the Prime TV News desk. For more information, visit www.itnnews.lk. Many thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.